What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast. We talk about the latest and greatest of cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? And Chris Abercon.
What's going on, everybody?
What's going on? So welcome to Monday's episode of the show. So I got to be careful in saying that because I think I switched a couple episodes last week. Monday and Tuesday, our topics. Wednesday, discussion. Thursdays, Ask a CISSP. I don't have one right now, but please go back and check out the one with Dr. Jimmy J. Davies from Every Dot Black. So a very good episode. He talks about how he started his entrepreneur, how his platform has been around for 90 years. He hasn't been around for 90 years, but the platform that he now oversees has been around for 90 years. So definitely continue to check that out. And then Fridays, everything else, movies, books, games, all that cool stuff. But without further ado, I'll give it to Shannon.
All right, everybody. So this article comes from statescoop.com, written by Sophia Fox Soul. And the title of this one is Texas Governor Signs Bill for Statewide Cyber Command. So good stuff, right? Like the state of Texas, as large as it is and with the population that it has, is coming to realize that cybersecurity is something to be taken more serious. Now, it does help that they've had their butts handed to them a couple times with cybersecurity incidents in the recent past, right? Like, so they referenced some of them in the article. They even mentioned Mission, Texas was one they had where they lost the ability for some emergency services and things of that nature. But Governor Abbott is down there. He signed a bill into law creating the Texas Cyber Command, right? And it's going to be headquartered at UTSA, University of Texas at San Antonio. And this is a good thing, right? So like they talk about it in the article and they mention the money that's going into it, but I'm curious, right? Because the funding that they have for it right now is only going to fund the operations through 2027, right? So it's $135 million from the state's general revenue fund. It's going to cover that, right? So I'm kind of curious where this money is going to come from, especially for Texas, right? Because Texas has no state income tax. So like where is this money? If you decide to do it past 2027, where's this money going to come from, right? Is it going to be federal money going towards it? Which I'm not against that, but I'm starting to see more and more where some of that money is kind of going away and going to other things, right? It's not necessarily going as much towards cybersecurity as it used to. But the fact that Texas did this, I mean, it was only a matter of time, right? So for us in the military, right, and with the things that we've done, we know that San Antonio especially has a large presence when it comes to IT and cybersecurity and things of that nature, just what's housed down there. And they mentioned a few of the things over here in the article too, right? They talk about NSA's Texas Cryptology Center, 24th Air Force Cyber Command is down there, headquarters out of there. Yeah, Joint Base San Antonio is what they call it because there's several bases down there. And, you know, they have a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, it's a lot of money committed to this. It's a good thing. Hopefully it's something that stays forward because I want to say Abbott's coming up on the end of his term soon too, right? I think he's term limited down in Texas. So don't quote me on that. Even though I said it, don't quote me on it. So I'm hoping whoever comes in after him does keep up with this, right? And then just maybe it's one of those things where when you see states start doing this on their own, yes, it could be a little confusing, right? Because then you got to worry about, okay, well, this state's funding, you know, their own cyber command type thing, you know, and then this one is doing this, but you want this to be something at the federal level. But this is a good thing. I'm not mad at it. I'm glad they put the money to it to the tune of $135 million, right? But let's try to make this go on past 2027 or get the federal government to get a little more in depth with this and doing this for the country. You know what I mean? But Chris, what's your thoughts on that?
Real quick, I'm sorry. Google says that Texas has no governor term limits.
Okay.
Just throw that in there.
He might be around.
Man.
Yeah, AI overview. Take it with
Very
grain salt.
nice.
So he might be there for a while to be able to keep it going.
Absolutely. Well, you know, I think Texas is obviously on the right path with this type of investment, right? So I think this might be one of the first, right? So like the first of its kind, right? From a state perspective, at least that I know of. I know, for example, New York has very stringent cybersecurity requirements, specifically protecting its financial industry, right? Obviously, because you've got New York City being the financial hub pretty much of the world, right? So I know, I'm not sure if they have a specific cyber command, but a quick Google search will probably fix that. Anyway, beside that point, Texas Cyber Command's a great thing. It's close to, in San Antonio, right? The article does mention it's close to military and scientific research institutions like the NSA Texas Cryptology Center and the U.S. 24th Air Force Cyber Command. and then a bunch of national academic centers and things like that, and UTSA rather, from San Antonio. But what I think is, I think the state of Texas will really see from like economic perspective that this is going to bring a lot of jobs into the San Antonio area, right? And I think it could serve as something like a pipeline for cybersecurity professionals, right? Coming out of San Antonio, coming out of Austin, coming out of these colleges, and then working at the cyber command, right? And really help securing state assets, right? So I think it's a fantastic effort. And what it's really doing is it's showing that cybersecurity is not just like an expense. They're showing that there's a lot of value in cybersecurity and to protect our assets, rather state assets in this regard. And then one thing I did want to add was Texas, from a revenue perspective, tax revenue perspective, they've got like a ton of Fortune 500 companies out of Dallas and Houston. You got pretty much the entire oil industry based out of Houston. I think Texas from a tax perspective and revenue perspective is probably, I mean, for us, $335 million is probably a lot from a state standpoint, but for a huge state like Texas, that might just be a drop in a bucket for them, right?
Well, the reason I say that though is because they have no state income tax, right? And their property taxes are a little bit higher when it comes to homes that nature, right? But,
they are a little bit higher. Let's see here. So I actually just did a quick Google search and the comptroller at Texas.gov has a monthly revenue watch, right, for their fiscal year. So based on this current data, the most of their tax revenue actually comes from sales tax, right? So sales tax. And then close second, you've got motor and vehicle sales. And then some big ones include natural gas production and oil production taxes, right? So that's something to consider. So they've got obviously oil production and natural gas production and things like that. So they're getting a ton of money from that.
How are they so business friendly then? So like if they're taxing on all these companies, like you got, the Silicon Valley folks that are moving there and whatnot, but it's because they're business friendly, right? So I imagine they're not paying as much in taxes and things of that nature. So how are they making so much doing that?
It might just be volume, man. So it just might be that there's a ton of businesses based out of Texas these days. And a lot of the, let's just say perhaps a real estate boom from the past few years. A lot of investment has gone to, for example, Austin, right? So all these builders building these high-rise towers, they're paying a bunch of taxes to the state, right? And then obviously the revenue they'll be collecting from that business as well. So I would say Texas is one of the only states that could probably operate by itself as a country, right?
I was waiting for somebody to say that.
California.
Well, in California.
Remember, California is the fourth largest economy in the world.
That's true. I think Texas would be up there as well. But yeah, for sure. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Ryan, what do you think?
Yeah, so I did do a quick Google search. The New York Cyber Command is charged with protecting all city systems against cyber threats, including systems that deliver vital services to New Yorkers. Headed by the Chief Information Security Officer of the City of New York, we provide an in-depth support of over 100 agencies and offices to protect, detect, identify, respond to, and recover from cyber threats. Their CISO is Kelly Moan, M-O-A-N.
Mm-hmm.
So they're pretty established. But when you're talking about financial services, I know they have the NYDFS.
Yeah, NYDFS.
Is one of their risk management frameworks as well. Because like you said, they are a major hub or even the epicenter of money because of Wall Street.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of different protections and things of that nature coming from the state. Yeah, I found it interesting. I'm hoping, like you said, it's a pipeline because you have it's right there, right? 24th Air Force is right there. So why not transition these veterans over to your services, right? It should be, you would think, a direct pipeline, but as we know, sometimes these things can be a little complicated. But I did see that because depending on what type of resume they have to submit and stuff like that, I did see where they're trying to change the federal resume, so it's no longer like 15 pages of nonsense. It's more of a direct link to a real resume. They're trying to, I think it's OPM is in charge of this. They're trying to soften these standards, not to lower them, but to make them more applicable, because who has time for that, right? I still haven't done my federal resume, and I probably never will.
Yeah, I remember.
It's like writing a book.
I remember when I was transitioning, they were like, yeah, I can help you out with that federal resume. I can write it for you, right? Because apparently there's an entire industry just on helping people out with their federal resumes. So that shouldn't be a thing, right? No offense, but it's just like it should be open. It should be transparent.
Somebody just screamed at the radio. No.
Yeah, like I'm never gonna work with Chris Abercon.
He's trying to kill the federal resume over here, but I think it's already dead. I think the article I saw was that they are going to change it.
Mm-hmm.
Because people have issues, putting them together. Because it is ridiculous. I think I could have got a free one through Hire Heroes USA, and I never got to that point. Like I got through the master resume, the target resume, and then I got a job. So I never got to the hey, let's write your federal resume. So shout out to them.
I know a couple people that went through Hired Heroes, and it seemed like it was I don't want to say a standard. It seemed like it was more geared towards a civilian resume, right? Like it wasn't crazy long or anything like that. But yeah, they would want your EPRs and things of that nature to kind of civilianize it, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah, that was my first resume when I was transitioning. Since then, I've done a few more, right? As you get into the industry, you learn what people like and what they don't like, and I got some honest feedback from my first supervisor. He was like, your resume sucks. I was like, oh man. But it wasn't because of them. It was because of the industry I was going into. So it was like, it's still like, even though they did a good job of transcribing it, it was like, it still reads very military. And since he was a veteran, he understood it, but he was like, my boss doesn't know what any of this means. So you need to make it more civilian.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't even know how we got here, but we got here.
I think we were talking about pipelines, right?
Got it. Yes. So that's my hope for it, because it should be a 1-to-1. Like they should be able to pull these people over.
Yeah.
And that would be perfect, because first, people need that leg up to get into the industry, right? But secondly, having such specialized skills, like why not go from the 24th Air Force to Texas Cyber Command? Like it should be like a skill bridge opportunity, right? It should be just that easy.
Absolutely. That should 100% be a skill bridge opportunity with how, military friendly state of Texas and San Antonio is. I wouldn't imagine. I mean, I think that should be a priority, right?
You would think. But yeah, we'll circle back to this one, because I'm sure as it starts to kick into gear, there'll be more information released, or at least their plans for how they're going to staff this thing. So I think it's a very interesting article to circle back to. But definitely continue to check us out. So we are on pretty much all your podcast platforms of choice. You can go to the website, theothersideofthefirewall.com. And make sure you go to theothersideofthefirewall.com, because there's another website it's missing the it takes you somewhere totally different, or ramcyber.io. And there you can go to our webpage, and it'll take you to, you can listen to us on the radio, you can listen to us on your podcast platform of choice. You can listen to us just on the web page itself. You can just click the play button, as well as it'll redirect you to our YouTube. Definitely continue to check that website out, though, because I have a guide coming out. So The Other Side of the Firewall is also going to be a book, so it should be dropping soon. So definitely circle back to that, because I would love to share that with the audience. And then hit up pretty much any social media that goes by The Other Side of the Firewall, The Other Side of the FW, or Ask a CISSP. Give me a person at RY Security Guy. That's RY Security Guy. You can find me on pretty much everywhere, but LinkedIn is where I'm most active. And what about you, Chris?
You can find me on LinkedIn under my name, Chris Abercon, last name spelled A-Bacon.
There it is. Stay safe. Stay secure.